the relationship, okay? All right? And Renaud talks about the relationship. Mike has talked about the relationship. I think, here's a hack for you immediately. Develop a relationship with a third-party inspection company. Don't rely on just a relationship with the supplier. That takes a lot of time. It's faster to get involved with a third-party inspection company because they're going to be your eyes and ears on the ground. Am I right? Right. So you can do that immediately. Don't just say, oh, third-party inspection company, I pay them money, they do all the work for me, I don't have to do anything. No, it's very important that you get to know because not all third-party inspection companies are good. Okay? You've got to monitor the monitors. All right? So, and if you haven't got time to go in China and live with a factory, then I would say develop a relationship with a third-party inspection company. Know who they are. Know who the person is that's going into the factory. Okay, let's get on with that. So that's another area of relationship that you need. Do not discount a third-party inspection. There's my 1,000 study. I'm going to talk about 3 things. There's 4 here, but that's for a one-day talk. So we're going to put the first 3 challenges for innovation, the mind of the supplier. Number 2, what to look for when selecting your factory. Number 3, we're going to talk about factory audit. We're going to give you a case study, a real live case study. And the ending you will not believe. So let's have a look at that. All right, here is what I do now is, it's very hard to go into suppliers and actually take photos and videos because I'm a professor, I actually go in and I video end to end, even when I do the factory audit. And I won't do it if I can't go in with the video to video everything. So my audits are on steroids. You get a lot of... Let me just turn this... There you have it. Let me turn the volume down. Okay. What do we have here? What are they making? Hoverboards, yes, we all love them. The US government loves them because at the start of last year they banned hoverboards altogether. No more. Until the UL, they developed a UL standard in the US to start certifying factories that make hoverboards to bring them across the US. So now there are a limited number of factories in China that make hoverboards. One of these factories is UL certified. So you can buy a hoverboard technically from one of these factories, ship it to the US and be legal. So which one is it? Hands up for this one. Hands up for this one. Don't ever go to a factory. This is a workshop, all right? This is the bottom part of what Renaud talked about. Remember those 3 types of factories? This is a workshop. On this day, this factory, this was last year when I visited them, they were making 600 hoverboards. Actually, this workman here is probably 10 times more experienced and knowledgeable than each of these workmen here because this workman is making the hoverboard from scratch. So he knows every little part, detail. This is a proper assembly line that you need to see in a top certified factory. This factory at the top is DBK. They are certified, UL certified, one of the first to actually ship in the USA. I talked to this factory. Are you worried about US has banned hoverboards? And they said, no. I said, what are you doing? We're shipping to the Middle East. We're shipping to Europe. We're shipping everywhere else. US isn't the only country in the world to sell to. All right? And they were making 600 hoverboards that day for a client in France. So let's keep moving here. As Mike mentioned, the relationship, legal documentation, measurement, verification. The whole idea that I came from with this is normally you get sourcing agents, distributors to take care of the top circle. You get lawyers to take care of this circle. And you get auditors, factory auditors. I was an accounting auditor too. Wow. Factory auditors take care of this circle here. You need to know a little bit of each. You need to monitor. If you outsource any of these, you should pick the brains of each of those 3 groups of people. Learn from them. Use them to teach you, so you're not the same position in 12 months' time as you are today. Okay. Let's keep moving. The mind of your supplier. There's two things I'm going to take you through in the next 20 minutes. The mind of your supplier. I'm going to show you some analysis I've done that I've been very fortunate to get data from the supplierblacklist.com as a researcher, and so then I've packaged it to present to you so you can see some trends, ideas, because Renaud and Mike Renaud talked about the things that scared you. Mike said, well, I've got the good news. Well, I'm going to show you some bad news now, all right? So all right. There are 940 complaints against China's suppliers, and 622 of them were scams, other unethical activities, 309 contract violations, 185 due to the lack of labour, 171 missed lead times, 52 compromised intellectual property. We'll just skip through this just to show you that you just got to be careful. It's still alive and well, the chance to scam you if you are not dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I always get that wrong around sometimes. All right. Okay, so what products does this affect? I'm supposed to be talking to you about my experience with electronic factories. Is that right? Well, that makes sense because electronics is a huge area to be scammed on. Okay? All right? So if you don't want to be scammed, maybe, assuming that this data is representative, maybe just stick to sports. Maybe stick to household, which probably most of you are doing anyway. So just be careful. A lot of the scams that are, this is a voluntary information given to the supplier blacklist. So electronics, nearly 40%. Okay, so what do we learn from that? Top scamming areas, Shenzhen, of course, because Shenzhen and Guangzhou are the biggest areas in China for electronics. Okay, so there's nothing unusual about this data. I just want to show you that there's suppliers in a lot of provinces right down the eastern seaboard where scams are taking place. What about, where are the buyers coming from? Are buyers from the US more intelligent at working with China than buyers from Australia, or I'm from Australia, or from Africa, or the UK? Well, now of course, these are totals, and maybe there's more sourcing done from the US, so therefore there's more scams in the US. Understand now, I just want to show you that there's data in that blacklist, that a myriad of countries where scams are taking place. Like people from Nigeria are being scammed, from Spain, Malaysia, Afghanistan. Okay, so it's all over the place. They're not just targeting just a white person like me with a long nose, okay? All right, so let's have a look at stage of the relationship. We have initial order, more likely to be scammed. What about experience? More than 3 years, and you still could be scammed. So be careful on that. Formal contract, yes, and you still can be scammed. Here's the big thing you need to take away is, did you visit the production site within a year? Majority, no. So I think many of you know now that, look, you're in this region, you go and visit anyway. All right? The hack I want to give to you is see if you can visit with a third-party inspection company for the factory that you are serious with. Because that third-party inspection company, but you've got to pay them $500 US for the day to come with you, but it's worth it because they can be your education, especially going to a factory that you're serious with for the first time. Okay? When you go on your own, how do you know what's good or bad? You're just going to have to watch my videos. But a third-party inspection company can teach you more, and they're on site with you. I've never ever mentioned that. That's a good idea. Yeah, third-party inspection company. Pay them for 1 day to accompany you. Often you're paying a translator to go with you. Is that right? Well, get a third-party inspection person to go with you. Then they got knowledge. It's China knowledge, but also factory knowledge. Okay, yeke lang mei. You heard of that saying? It's the saying in Chinese. Okay, 2 meals with 1 chicken. Okay, all right. So, okay. Now, before I go any further and bore you to death, how are we going so far? Is this interesting? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. So I'll keep going. Okay, so just hold back on the drinks at the back, okay? All right, all right. So information on the business license was accurate? No. A level of independent quality control. No independent QC took place. Okay, so just international commercial terms. FOB is in here, but B port. This is scammers saying that, oh, we can ship to your port. Where's your country? Don't do that. Don't do that. That's scary. Okay, the traditional approach or the safest approach is to FOB FOB, and you get inspection up until the FOB. That is free on board of the port. It's in Shenzhen or Hong Kong or other parts in China. Okay, and then you arrange the logistics after that, whether it's fulfillment by Amazon and all that sort of stuff. Okay, okay, let's shift over to the factory. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is a series of videos taken in factories, and we're going to look at good ones, bad ones, and you decide. And I'll show you what you can look for in that factory. Here are all the factories I've been to. I can tell you that all of these are well-known brands and factories that are existing today. Their products exist today. Whether the factory exists is another story. Okay? But I would source from most of these factories. So what is going to happen now is I'm going to show you videos, and then I'm going to point out this is not good, look for this, look for that, right? That's not to say that that factory is bad, okay? It's just to show what to look for, make you a little bit more intelligent, okay, when you're going through the factory and not just, wow, look at the factory, okay. All right, so my first time I went to a factory, I thought, okay, I'll go to Shenzhen Technology over here and I'll go to Blah Gifts China Limited. Well, I realised that just killed half my day because it took 3 hours to get from here to over here. Okay, it's better to actually get factories in a... When you go to the trade show, if you're really, really serious about visiting factories in the same week, take a map of Shenzhen with you. They'll tell you the address, but ask them with a pen, where on this map are you? Just to give you an idea, just to see and pinpoint a few factories that are close by. Okay? When you go to Lok Ma Chau, you organise with a private company. It's less than 700 yuan. So what we're talking about, $100 US, is that right? A driver can take you around for the whole day. You can go to one factory, two factories, three factories. Of course, the factories down the show tomorrow are going to say, oh, we'll pick you up, don't worry. Okay, but you know, then you're stuck with going where they want to go, all right? So just get this driver, it'll take you around. You go to this factory, oh, now we've got to go to this one. It'll just wait for you. It's your car for the day. It's actually a van. You can set up your computer and do work as you are in China, okay? So just, there's another option that you can use to help facilitate your factory visits. Okay, let's have a look at receiving inspection. This is a big thing that a lot of electronics factories, remember those two hoverboard manufacturers I showed you earlier? Remember that? Here are the two again. So what is the difference? Why do hoverboards explode? Because of the battery. This DBK, see this? They are checking every one of those 20 little cells that go together to make that 4.4 amp hour battery that goes in the hoverboard that could explode, all right? Here's the 20 pieces put together. They are delivered to this factory by another supplier. It's got a sticker, Samsung on the outside. Oh, it must be Samsung on the outside. I don't know. You don't know either. But this is what you get in the hoverboard that comes out of this workshop here. This one here, look, they are checking every single cell. We've got a machine before they actually put the cells together. Now, by rightly, the Japanese are very smart at putting batteries together. They'll charge them up, they'll discharge them, charge them again, and find out the impedance level, because perfect assembly of batteries requires that every one of those 20 cells have the same impedance level. That is the same resistance. So when they are charged, they all charge together and discharge together. This factory, I didn't see that they were doing that, but this is the closest I've got to total battery assembly as all the factories I've been to. Okay, the Japanese probably do it the best, but then it's very, very expensive. Okay. This one wasn't doing it. Okay, receiving inspection. That's the first thing that a lot of factories, when they're short on margin, they'll cut receiving inspection immediately. Not just electronics, but a lot of things. They'll cut that. I'll show you a video of another factory that does that. Okay, now Mike was very nice to have my watch. Actually, it's very popular today. Our little, it's not a Fitbit. Yes, it is. It's a smartwatch. No advertising here. Okay, so we've got our smartwatch. So we need to go, let's go visit some smartwatch factories, shall we? Okay, so we're in a smartwatch factory. They asked me to put a coat on here. I didn't have to put a coat on here. Your job is to choose which factory would you buy from. Okay, that's your job in the next 3 minutes. So pay attention. Okay, that's receiving, that's a storeroom area. Come on, get on with it. Just, yeah, well, professors like talking, all right? Okay, just, okay, now we're in the assembly line. And so you've got workers here, they're wearing what they like, their T-shirts are the same, no uniform, they've got uniform here. What I notice here at the top here is that there was anti-static. They had to have anti-static lines, but there was one at the bottom, at the top here, where it was just hanging and one of the workers didn't have it on. Anti-static is very, very critical with electronics. Now, you know, will that affect the final product? Maybe not, but it just shows how much attention they're paying to detail, and that's what you want to look for in the factory. Are they paying attention to detail? All right, notice here the documentation. Above every work area, there must be a document that says what that worker has to do. Not all factories have that. They still can make a good product without that, but not over and over and over and over again. Okay, so there's the detail of what that worker has to do here. We're going up the end here, and the ladies are touching the outside of the watches, but they don't have gloves on. No glove. So the moisture from your hands, we have moisture coming out of our hands all the time, and that goes onto the product. And so that moisture picks up dust, then it becomes dirty, then you have to clean it. And the factory has to employ someone else to clean that. That costs labour, that costs money, that eats into their margin. And that's something that you can actually, well, I told the factory here, get gloves on that girl at the end. Put gloves on, or even fingertip gloves, so that moisture doesn't get onto that product. Okay. Okay. I'm not here to criticise factories. I want to help the suppliers. Every one of these factories, I talk to the owner, I give them advice, I show them the video, but I want to show them areas that they can improve. Okay? Now, which of these factories would you buy from? Okay? Now, I gave you 3 minutes. I gave them 3 minutes, right? Yeah. All right? So, hands up for the top one. Right? It's a simple smartwatch. All right? Hands up for this one here. Okay? See that top one, that factory, it's gone. It's gone. 3 months after I was there, gone. All right? They knew how to put all the uniforms and everything. It looks nice and clean here. Why would you buy from this one? Why would this one be better? It's something you're not seeing, and I'm showing you. I'm tricking you, but I did give you a hint in the documentation. I actually mentioned it twice. Didn't I not mention that? Documentation. There's a hint there. It's very hard for the average factory to get all of its documentation correct without some help. Where do they get their help from? Where do you think? Do you think they learn it from other factories that are trying to learn too? They learn from customers. And the best customers for these factories are large brand name OEM customers. Okay? This company here made video set-top boxes for Sharp, Japanese. Do you think Japanese are high quality? Hands up if you think Japanese are high. All right? So immediately I realised that, there's a signal here, this factory. There's a sign, you've got to look for signs. Okay? Look for a factory that is actually, if they've supplied to a Japanese customer, wow, they must be at a certain level, okay? And then I can verify that by actually seeing the documentation in the assembly area. Now, this factory here at the top, they're still selling smartwatches. What are they doing now? They're outsourcing. That's not a bad thing. You just got to know that's happening, and if you can verify the outsourced assembly, okay? Yes. Okay, brand. They closed down the assembly, but they're still selling smartwatches. Okay. Okay. All right, attention to detail. Let's have a look. One more thing when we're in this factory. Now, we're in that's administration. This lady, bless her heart, she comes out with a tray full of smartwatches. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? Coming out of administration with this dust and there's no clean area with all these smartwatches. And so we stopped there and wanted to find out what's happening. Now, they're all lined up together. No protection between all the smartwatches. Could be scratched. Okay? Get moisture, dust, all that sort of stuff. All right, and anyway, so the reason why they went into the other admin area is they wanted to test the Bluetooth in the smartwatch, and they didn't want that to interfere on the assembly line wireless signals that are going on the assembly line. So they wanted to separate. Okay, that's fine, but take it to a clean area, not to the administration area. Okay, so, you know, there's a clean room in the assembly area, but then they take it out to test the Bluetooth. I like that. Okay, now we've got a QC form here that's being used to test, check where someone is actually checking where they are on the QC. And so documentation on this one, again, documentation, very, very good documentation. So look out for that when you're going through the factory. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. All right, now I'm going to show you two factories where one of them I helped a lot, one of them is very well established. You could buy from both of these, but I would encourage you to spend more money on third-party inspection on one factory more than the other. All right, so when factories need help or at a low level, spend more money on third-party QC. That's another way. It doesn't. You don't have to go. You go to a very good factory. Sometimes they'll price you out of the market. So you've got to think about that. How you can get quality into your website. So let's have a look at two of these very quickly. All right. You could buy Bluetooth speakers. Bluetooth. You know, Bluetooth speakers. Very popular. Everyone's got Bluetooth speakers. Okay, so we're talking with the Bluetooth. They've asked me to put this on your shoe. How many of you have been asked to do that when you go to the factory? Like, how do you know they do that after you leave? That's the big question, isn't it? Right? It looks good. It looks good. All right. Okay, this one here, this is dirty. This factory is so dirty. And we get to the end of this assembly line and we find that they have rejects. The volume's not working. And the charger unit is not working. And anyway, they realised that, oh, that's because of the chip that we received from another supplier is not working, malfunctioning. And I said, do you have receiving inspection? Oh, no. Why not? Too expensive. This is only a $4 FOB unit. Why would I spend money on receiving inspection? Okay, so you've got to understand, they've got to think of their margins too. And receiving inspection is probably even more critical in electrical products manufacturing because that you've got to hit the quality where it's received. You've got to test the quality at receiving before it's assembled. It's too late. And so how do we know that? I've got this factory at the top. They are now making high-end audio MP3 players. You know, that's a new segment out there where, you know, you'll pay several thousand dollars, even more, for an audio player. It plays MP3. Wow, my ears wouldn't know the difference. But this factory's gone into that business now. That's been around for a long time. This one here, struggling, but I spoke to the owner, and that's what he told me about receiving materials inspection. Let's keep moving here. Okay, so we've got, I told this owner here, why don't you spend 20 to 30 minutes every morning, the managers too, just cleaning up the factory, make the factory look more presentable for the buyers. Okay, some of them are doing automation. I've got automation clip here. The one at the top, this is a supplier for Microsoft. Like, they would actually let me in. Well, I'm the professor, I can go when I like, right? So, this supplier at the top is making the buttons for the Xbox. You know, the gamepad for the Xbox? That's the supplier. That's the supplier for Microsoft, okay? And this one here, again, this one is one of the making smartphones. So these are two high-end suppliers here. Like, this is, you know, top of the top, right? This one is subject to a factory audit I did last year. So we're going to have a look at that. Let's have a look. All right, so you're going to go down to the trade show tomorrow or the next day, and you're going to find a company like Ioni. No, they don't pay me, don't worry. But they're a public company, so it's all right for me to show a photo, like they're on the Shenzhen stock market. Okay, so if the factory you're buying from is actually a publicly listed company, maybe there's some assurance there, right, Mike? Yeah, that helps. Helps a little bit. All right, so they had about 30 headphones. So there's a video of me on Facebook actually I picked out the best 4 headphones ranging from, I picked out 2 Bluetooth headphones. How many of you are interested in headphones, sourcing headphones? Probably not, maybe in the future, but that's hot now, it's very hot. So I thought I'd go around the trade show and find headphones. Okay, the 2 Bluetooth ones were $18 FOB, and there was another one for $23 FOB. Then there were 2 noise cancelling headphones. I like noise cancelling headphones. One $35 and $38.50. And so this company was making those headphones. Anyway, so Ioni, why did I go to this booth? Because I first went to their factory, even before I knew that they were making headphones, because at the time when I went to their factory last year, they were making the DVR players. They were making the DVR players that go into the front of your car, so you can record the accident before you have the accident, so you can see what the accident looks like. Yes, all right. So when you go into this factory, there's your dust-off area before you go into the surface-mounted chip room where the machines are mounting all the components together onto the PCB board and all things like that. All right. So this is the first time I had to go through this. So this is very high-end quality control in terms of the dust-free zone. Okay, so now this has got 5 levels of production Ioni has. They have the design area, and I saw a foreigner there doing the design for a product and doing tweaking and things like that and sampling all that. At the other level there was the injection molding machines, then there was the assembly machines, then there was the SMT level, everything all in one building. Most of the factories that are probably going to be representing the trade show do not do all of those 5 things together. They're really good at doing one of those things or 2 of those things. They don't have the resources to do all 5. So you need to trade that off with the fact that, well, if you buy from Ioni, you may have to pay a higher FOB, like the headphones, Bluetooth headphones. What was the minimum one, did I say? How much did I say? 18, 16, did I say 16? Or 18, $18 FOB. I go to another supplier last week and I found a Bluetooth headphone for $6.50 FOB. Wow. And it was very nice. This was another one I went to. So sometimes there may not be much difference in the headphones, but there's a big difference in the factory quality pedigree. Okay, you're paying for that factory. That factory is more powerful, so it's going to start at a higher level, the FOB price. And so this day, they just started a new production run. They're making the VCR cameras that go in the front of the car. On that first production run that day, they had a 10% rejection rate. 10%. But that's probably normal on the first run. But what's important when you go to the factory is, do they count? Do they have a clipboard that says all the rejections and then the reasons for the different rejections? Are they documenting the rejections? Which is important because then they learn from that. And fortunately, there you are. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Look, there's the documentation. And there's the run for 11:30 to 12, 12:30 to 1, and so forth. And there's all the different reasons. And so they're active. They're active in actually monitoring their quality and finding out what are the reasons for the quality. So that's probably why you pay more FOB from this factory here than you would from another factory that doesn't have such systems in place. Okay, so here's some takeaways. Okay, you like the bird? All right, yeah, it made you look twice, didn't it? All right, receiving inspection. So you go into the factory, what can you look for? Okay, do you have receiving inspection? Number 2, anti-static gloves. Do they have anti-static wires? There's a new idea out that, we can have wireless anti-static, so it's wireless. That is not as stable as wired anti-static, okay? Documentation. Does the factory have an OEM relationship? I think that is so critical. If they've had an OEM relationship, that is their source of learning. You don't want to be the only teacher to the factory. You don't want to be the only teacher, okay? But you need to be a teacher somehow. Be a teacher in terms of having the passion to actually help them. And actually, one of the big themes I want you to take away from my talk is, because there's a big question in everyone's mind, Mike mentioned about negotiation. How do you negotiate? Where do you start? The big thing I want you to take away from what I'm saying is you start with having an interest in how the supplier can improve and given advice. Giving before taking, okay? How do you do that? Do you fake being a factory smart? No, I just gave you some ideas. It's very easy to find areas where factories can improve. Give some tips. That doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to help your supplier, right? That doesn't cost you, okay? Clean and dust-free, rejects, rework area, mind of the supplier. Okay, so there's some things to take away. Now let me finish off with a real case study where I did a factory audit. And the product in question was what is this? Yeah, anyone interested in sourcing that? No one? Oh, okay, we'll stop here then. No, all right, we'll just show you this one. Okay, digital frame, and here are our two factories. Look, both of them are good. There's not a good and bad one, all right? So let's go through this story, shall we? And so I went and audited both of these. This is basically a simple factory audit, okay? A simple factory audit. So I'm going, can the factory make what the client wants to get made? All right, and so both of them are really good. They're A-star suppliers on Global Source's website. One's a blue and one's a red. Okay, that's all good. All right, and then you can check out the business registration profile. They say in the business registration that they do production, so then you know that they make something. Okay, so by rights, if they got production in the business description, that means they make something. They're not a trading agent. And both of these are in production. Okay, so we go to one factory, the blue one. That's what the blue one looks like. This is even before you go visit the factory. And then we can look at the red one. Okay, so hands up. Who likes the blue one so far? Who likes the red one? Like the red one? Why, you see all the certificates here? Didn't you learn anything from what Mike and Renaud said? All right, okay? Don't pay attention to the certificates, all right? You want to see what they can do, okay? Not what they can copy. Look, they're probably good certificates. How can you verify them? You can actually go to the sites of those certificates. You go UL, CE, and things like that, and actually find that factory listed, okay? The name of the factory listed on the site, so you can verify that, okay? So let's keep moving here. All right, we've got the red and the blue, all right? They're both good. You're going to buy from both. You can negotiate from one or the other. Let's go in and see what they can do. So let's have a look, shall we? There's our blue one, and here's our red one. So we've got a real factory audit now. Wow. It's real. All right, and this one I had to go upstairs, so immediately I didn't like this factory. Okay, all right. I like it where it's on ground floor. So I go immediately in this office, into this factory. Now, one thing that Renaud taught me, Neale, if you want to help the supplier, there's 3 things that you can help. Write this down. 3 things that you can help save money immediately. All right? 2 things immediately is cut inventory. Number 2, cut frontline staff, administration staff. Look at all those people. Cut that will actually help save the factory money. The 3rd thing is to help improve their processes. Okay, these are 3 things that any consultant going to a factory turnaround would do. 3 things immediately. Okay, so anyway, so we're going into the 2. Here, the blue one here, they're making the little Dougal. It's kind of like set-top box Dougal. You plug into your phone, so you can actually send a signal to your TV set and play things from your phone. Okay. Over here, we're seeing them making something. They're making a smartphone. Immediately, when I saw that, I think, oh. There's no hope. This, like, in 2010 and to 2013, I'd done some work with HTC. Do you want to know HTC? All right, so I had the privilege of actually watching their operations in Taiwan. Actually, the owner of Foxconn went across to HTC to find out how to automate Foxconn's operations. And I noticed in HTC, they had an assembly line just like this. And I realized, wow, this factory, this is state of the art. This is state of the art. They're making smartphones. Very few factories can make smartphones. Okay? Consistently, good quality, and survive. All right. And I'm going to order picture frames from this factory. Wow. Okay. This one here looks pretty good. So they're both pretty good factories. They're both looking good, except for when we go, let's conditions of assembly. Let's further. Okay. This one, look. Now we've got automation, okay? So this is pretty good here. We've got documentation on the top one. And so now here's at the top, there's inspection of bad quality. it looks a little bit unorganized. I'd like to see a little bit more documentation in this area, okay? How many defective units have come in, and how many have been checked, how many can be opened and replaced, how many are no hope, okay? Some documentation. There was no documentation, so I'll worry about that. Like, what can you question about this? You're just going to have to pay a higher FOB. Sometimes that's the way it is. Some of these factories have so much power because they are so good. Let's just keep moving here. All right, what's another thing that you need to see in an electronics factory? Let's wrap this up. All right, this is the burn-in room. What do you mean by burn-in room? They've got to plug and charge every one, 100% of their products. Charge them up over 4 hours, over 8 hours. Discharge them. The really good ones will actually charge them up again. Okay, ready for packaging. Okay, and then full documentation of that charge up and discharge. Okay, so these factories are doing both very, very good. All right, so let's keep moving here. Attention to detail. Look, I love the red factory because, look, I don't have to bend down to put this shoe sock on, all right? All right, first time, I love that, all right? Yeah, exactly. Now this one here, we go into the SMT machine area, and there's no doorway to stop all the dust. Nothing. And then we see this lady playing with a smartphone. Look, she's on the smartphone while she's playing around with the chip and doing the testing. Like, please don't do that, all right? So I give them advice. Can you just help? And, you know, just stop doing some of these little things. It's so easy. It's on a smartphone. I like that, one-handed operation. Okay? And this one here is a clean room inside the clean room. And it just, it's a privilege to go inside here. And it's just like, you know, you need to take anesthetic before you have an operation of the oxygen, how clear it was. It tasted and smelled just like that. It was beautiful. So we're able to go in there and just, lovely, lovely, great area. All right, so we go to the end, and here's the showrooms of both. And I'm thinking, all right, we just want a picture frame. Like, you've just seen two great factories. How are you going? What's the deal now? Well, you know, FOB of one's going to be higher than the other. Which one do you think will have the higher FOB? You're right, but how much higher? Probably pretty close, all right? Where do we start? What's the FOB for this? Let's get some price range here very quickly. Can we start at 17? Can we have 17, 17, 17, 17? 17, 17? 12? No, we're going high. This red one's a pretty good one. You're not going to get it for 12, all right? We're starting at 17. Anyone like to go higher? 22, very, very close. 23. 23 is the FOB for this one, all right? By the way, that was their latest product, and I told them, I told my client, don't buy that because that's too hot. I was touching it myself. It's too hot. Maybe it's only 60 degrees. It's safe, and it's on a marble mantelpiece in the house of someone that buys it. But what if they put it on something that's flammable? Poof, house fire, liability. Lawyers love that sort of stuff. All right? So you want to be careful. You want to be careful about heat of your product. So I just told my client, look, buy the old one where you actually stick a pencil out the back to hold it up because all the IC unit at the back is spread out over about four times the area. The new one, they've got a very short area, little space, so it gets hot. So I don't know if I would have seen that had I not gone to the factory and actually touched it myself. You with me here? Visiting the factory is so critical, especially for areas that you might be liable for. All right, how much would you pay for the FOB from this one? We're going to negotiate now. Remember, going to the factory is about finding points of negotiation. If you can find a way of helping the supplier, then that starts the negotiation process. It's not about price, but remember 23 for this one. Where are you going to start with this one here? Can we have 18, 17? Oh, come on, give us quick. 15, can we a bit higher, 15, you know, would you pay more? Can we have 17, 17, 17, 17? 17, 18, can we have 18 at the back? 18, we've got 19 over here. Anyone for 20? Can we have 20? 20, 20, 20, yes, we've got 20. This one here wanted 20, okay? MOQ was 2,000. MOQ, I think it's 2,000. This one wanted 23. So which one are you going to go from? You saw both. We just did an audit. Hands up if you go for the red. Remember, you are Amazon sellers, so you need to make money. Am I right? All right? It's no good having a perfect product that you don't make any money. How many of you would go from the blue? Anyone? Some of you, okay? All right, you've got to think about this, because this is what happened in the end. The first order, 2,000 units, $23 US. We went with the red. We went with the red. I said they're both good, but red is better. Red is better because the quality was just perfect. And there was no third-party inspection company used in this case. So we just buy direct from the factory, straight into Amazon. Wow. Very few factories you could do that, I think, in electrics. But you saw it for yourself. 20 on the second order, $26 US. On the third order, $28 US. Suddenly, client comes back to me, Neale, what do I do? What do I do? I'm priced out now. I'm not making money. So we've got that perfect factory, but the price is not perfect. So I said, okay, let's repivot now. Maybe we go back to the old factory. Maybe we go back to the blue factory, this blue one, and we do that $20, but now you spend $1 US per unit, okay, so that's 2,000 per order, paying a third-party inspection company to inspect, say, 50 or 60%, if not even more, of the product. And so when you do your second order, it's still going to be 20. The third order is still likely going to be 20, because the blue factory doesn't have the power. So another takeaway. When you're negotiating, you've got to think about what the power. Factory's perfect, but also it means the factory has power. And you may get a good price on that first order, but what happens on the second order once they get you in? So be careful about that. All right? So let me just finish there. I think we got a few takeaways from that. Just finish up a project with KPMG, so that's excited. That's for another day. But it's factory visit checklist. Know exactly the specs and standards of your products. I think, what are the hacks that you can take away from the last 40 minutes? Number one, third-party inspectors can help you. You're paying them money. Why don't you get them to educate you as well as do their work? You with me? Get them to accompany you to the factory. Okay? Get to know the inspector. Do you know the third-party inspector that you're paying money to? Okay? Maybe it's not critical for household products. It's going to be more critical for electrical products. Okay? Number two, perfect factory means perfect power. Means your negotiation ability after the first order may diminish considerably, and you're locked in. Okay? Because they know that, well, it's a bit more effort for you to go to another factory. We've got to put the price up. Okay? So these are some of the challenges that it fits into negotiation. And the last theme I want to remind you of, and it's something I'm passionate about, helping suppliers, if you can just find 1% passion to think, oh, I want to help this factory I'm buying from. If you can just think of that 1%, find 1% passion, it will help your negotiation process, your relationship building process considerably. With that, thank you very much.
Okay, we have a few minutes for questions. Saw one already.
I can see the drinks.
G'day, Neale.
Hi.
Ivan from Australia. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Last week I was here. We saw quite a few inspectors. They're all around the factory, all around the expo. Is there an approved list for these guys? Is there ones who are dodgies, one that are not? Certification.
I don't think there's a blacklist of inspectors.
Yeah. They came from everywhere. They hit us everywhere.
Yeah.
I think there was about 4 companies
last
week we saw.
And there are, Asia Quality Focus, Asia Inspection, and then there's some French companies, and you see them advertised in the airport carts going out. I don't have anything to do with any of them directly, but I would ask some more questions, get to know them. How much, and interview the inspector. Just, can you teach me something about my product?
Right.
So I think one thing that you need, even though you find the good inspector, you still need to know the product that you're getting inspected.
I'm a manufacturer who's moved to over here.
Yes.
So I do most of the inspections at the moment. There's only a small team of us, so we're getting tired doing it all the time, so
Yeah.
we want to reinvest.
Yeah, I
those
would,
guys.
there's a selector inspection process you probably need to go through,
Okay.
inspector. So
All right, thank you.
interview them, get to know them and work with like they're all good, but get to know the one that you feel that you can learn from. You know, they're happy to help you, and they're all happy to help you, but you just feel the vibes with, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All the way to the back. Haven't been all the way to the back yet today, so why not?
I have a very simple question. What was the name of the goods manufacturer for the overboards?
The goods manufacturer, the really good one.
Yeah, in your presentation.
DBK. So Dr. Boy King, DBK. That's the parent company, okay? And then there's the brand that's under that, okay? Have a look at it. I think it's,
Question over here, Neil.
yeah, okay.
What was the most shocking thing you saw while you were doing all the inspections?
Was that other hoverboard company that they were in full flight, full production, 1 month after, you know, there were 73 fires worldwide on hoverboards. They were so excited in making this product. And the quality, I didn't show it on the video, it's in the video, the quality inspector of the hoverboard was, he just rides around everyone and around the inventory, and he had the Bluetooth going full bore, just listening to his favourite music as he was just going around. And I thought, wow, that's QC, he's loving it. Yeah, that was the most interesting. And the second one was that factory that closed down. It just, wow. 1 month after I left, gone. It's the last video you see of that factory. It looked perfect, uniforms and everything. Now, it doesn't mean they had bad quality, the reason why they closed down. You know, maybe it's a pivot of the owner, and maybe it's a reflection of the owner. And maybe they found another factory that they could outsource to, or maybe the landlord put up the leasing space. You know, there's lots of reasons why they're gone. Okay. But, yeah.
Do you have any comments on Samsung with the Note and they're blowing up phones?
That's critical. Any electrical product that has a battery in it, that's probably the most critical area. Does the factory pay attention to where they're sourcing it? How much do they know about the battery? Where are they getting the battery from? Okay, and is it reputable? Like one hoverboard factory they're just getting the battery in a package, and it's got Samsung on the outside. It said Samsung sells inside. How do you know? They don't know. They're just trusting that. The other one, they're checking it for themselves. That's the big thing you learn, and I saw that even before what happened with Samsung. All right, you're going to be importer of record, as Mike says, so that's a huge liability if something goes wrong in the US. Okay, and associated with that is, okay, there's all these standards around the world. You know, there's CE from the Europe, and then there's FCC, and there's UL. You're going to have to pay more attention to those standards once you get into electrical products, because they have their own. If you want to get liability insurance for electrical product that you're sending into the US, they'll say, oh, you need to have a UL standard. Well, suddenly you're going to have to pay maybe up to $10,000 to get your product UL certified. Wow. Do you need to do that? No, you don't, but you won't have liability insurance cover. So sometimes the insurance is actually driving what certifications you need to have in the market that you're selling into. But worst case scenario, have a company that is importer of record, don't have your person importer of record, okay? So the lawyers will sue the company and make sure there's no money in it, okay? All right.
Next question here.
Really enjoyed that. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm in electronics. I'm not currently manufacturing my own products right now, but I'd like to. And I've found that it's a little bit difficult for me because I'm not technical. Like, I don't know how to program or anything like that. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts, because I've done the trade show thing. I've gone booth to booth, and I don't know if it's just because the R&D people aren't there, or there's just changes that I know need to be made, but
Right.
I don't know exactly. They get confused when I tell them, oh, but can you do this? Can you do this?
Okay,
can you change the app for
Right.
me? That sort of thing.
Okay. All right, I'm very big on education hacks, right? Is there something that can speed up getting from A to B to C, right? Inspectors can speed up you getting up to speed with your factory. If the inspector goes with you, that's a hack. A hack for you is go down to the Startup Launchpad tomorrow and you'll see 100 plus Internet of Things entrepreneurs. Because I interviewed 50 of them last year for a KPMG report, and I found that they are amazing at figuring out how they can get the electronics done when they don't know about that. They've done this, they've got this product on Kickstarter, it has all this demand, then they just figure out how to do the engineering and then work with a factory in China. And so I've already been through that. I've got more information I can share with you after. But that is the best hack. If you're anyone interested in that, so you're tweaking, you're making something new, go and have a talk to some of these startups. They are hardware startups. Most of them are hardware startups, so they're the real deal. Like they're trying to make something that is real, not just the digital economy type thing, all right? And they will teach you so much. So talk to them. They will help you because they've had trouble with finding engineers, if it's for the firmware or for the electronics or for the actual final shell of the casing. You know, those three things are part of every IoT hardware device. Yeah, tomorrow, Launchpad.
Awesome.
And it
Thank
goes
you.
for the next 3 days. Is that right? 4 days. 4 days. And they're there. So anyone interested in electronics and finding out a little bit more about the challenges of putting stuff together, go to that Launchpad.
Not limited to Shenzhen. Yeah.
Tomorrow,
in fact, they're probably
Hall
not
11.
from Hong Kong.
Hall 11, yeah. Thank you for your question.
Actually, the guided tour will end at the Startup Launchpad for anybody who's joining
Yeah.
that. Any more questions?
Can you say something about the guided tour?
I will in just a minute, yes. No more questions? Then let's say thank you to Neale again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.